The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
What's up, besties? This is episode 15 of Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes, and let me tell you something. I am the second part of that title. 15 episodes, guys. Holy cow, we are on our quinceañera. And guys, I have the perfect show with all the festivities and all the fun. But first, I wanted to let you know that I will be at the Bang & Banjo Comedy Show on September 7th. The show starts at 8:30. It's a free show. Going to be a great lineup of comedians. And also, Orlando, I am coming for you October 3rd. I will be at the Geek Easy in Winter Park. It's going to be such a fun show. I played that room before. It is such a fun room. I love it. And all the comics that are there are really great as well. This episode is my good friend John Anderson. John is a singer-songwriter and YouTuber. He was formerly in a band called Give Up Ghost. Now he is currently in a band called Hologram Hearts. And honestly, this is one of my favorite episodes we've done in a really long time because we have my favorite kinds of conversations, which is a conversation that is funny and has a lot of bits, but also gets very serious and deep as well. I really think that you guys are going to enjoy this episode, so without further ado, please enjoy my buddy, John Anderson. This is Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes. Hey guys, guess what? I'm Mike Valdes. And today, I have a great guest with me, John Anderson. What's up, dude?
That's me. What's going on, guys?
Have you listened to this show before?
A little too much, yeah.
Okay. No, the reason why I asked is because when I said, this is Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes, you like mimed it with your own mouth. You were like, guess what? I'm Mike Valdes. So I was like, does he listen to this?
Oh, no, it's coming out.
No, it's good. No, thank you. I'm just glad anyone's listening at all. Before I ask you the first question, the first thing we like to do here at Childlike at Best is we like to take a Flintstones vitamin. So, these are your Flintstones Complete Gummies. You can let the audience know what you have.
I've been dreaming of this moment.
Have you really?
No, I actually learned something from listening to the episode the other day.
Okay.
That they are gummies. And I'd always thought, like, oh, Flintstones are the chalky ones from when we were kids.
Exactly.
But then you said gummies, and I was like, they make gummies?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't look at what I got. I just put it in my mouth
It's
because
okay.
I was so excited.
I'll be honest, man. I've done this too many times. You probably got pebbles. So as you're taking that in, can you please let me know and the listeners know where you grew up?
Real boring, right here in the same place, Hollywood, Florida, to Pembroke Pines, Florida.
What kind of kid would you describe yourself as? Like, who did you sit with at the lunch table?
Really far away from everyone. I don't even think I sat in the lunchroom. I think
I wasn't allowed.
I was banished, dude. It's not a race thing. It's just get that kid out of here. He's got an afro. I don't like him. I don't think I ever went in the lunchroom. So I sat like on this bridge that we have, like looking over the rest of the school. Just like away from everyone, eating my nachos and playing Pokemon on my Game Boy.
Listening to Simple Plan.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my
why
god.
could this happen to me?
You know, I wish you were kidding, but yo, that was the start. Hey, but those dudes are still playing that, like, to this day.
Yeah, and people are still crying, and I'm one of them.
They're like 40 and like, I'm just a kid. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just an adult, and I have kids now.
You know, I would go see that, dude.
Yeah, I'm just a dad tour. That would be great. That's like the weird thing about seeing bands like that from when you were a kid, especially like the Blink-182 kind of bands, where their whole thing was like, we're edgy and all this stuff, and it's like now they're 45 and you're like, but you have kids, dude. Like, this is really irresponsible. You know?
I don't even know like what you would raise your kids on.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be so confused as a parent. Like,
yeah.
Parenting's hard enough. Oh no.
That's really funny. So you never hung out in the lunchroom. You were always by the bridge, which is really sad.
Dude, I was literally like 4 years I ate nachos and Coke. Like, that's it. And that was probably why I have some of the health problems that I do today. But I had to put like a Coke in the freezer every night, so it would be like thawed out by lunchtime. That was like I guess this was before thermoses or something, but I would do that, and there would be times I wouldn't drink it, and then I wouldn't be on the bridge. I'd be hanging out with some of my friends, and they would just throw that in the air, and then we would get in trouble like half the time. Just
for all the soda exploding.
Watching it explode.
Oh my god!
But it was worth it, like every time. That was high school for me, really.
When you did go home, though, what were your fandoms? Like, what were the things that you were obsessed with at home? TV shows, movies, things like that?
You know what I did? I got home, and I was like, yes, nobody's home yet. Let's do this. I heated up. Yeah, what did I eat after school? I think I ate, like...
nachos. I heated up nachos.
Damn, dude. I really gotta get it checked out.
Yeah.
Become a nacho by the time I graduated.
Exactly, yeah.
I think I ate, like, what are those, kid cuisines.
Yeah, kid cuisine.
Yeah, I had
the square macaroni and cheese.
Dude, the little, is it a penguin, right?
Yeah, it was a little penguin.
I had that. I had, my mom would go to, like, BJ's and Costco a lot, so I would get, like, those frozen burgers, the White Castle ones.
Yeah, yeah.
So I heat that up, and I go over to the TV, start up my Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
It was, like, the beginning of anime for me.
How old were you at this time?
Oh, man. I was probably, like, 14.
Okay.
And then I was like, cool, still got, like, an hour left till my mom gets home, and then just go on some websites that I'm not allowed to go on the family computer. Dude, that's how you know it's like real dated things, like the family computer. I don't know if you had like a...
We had a family computer. And also, you've heard this show, so you know that I grew up in a very conservative Christian home. So we had like child protective services on it.
Dude, so we had like...
Every time you would go to a site, by the way, I need to interrupt you because I've never gotten to talk about this.
Oh, I like this.
Every time you would go to a site, like let's just say you like Googled boobs. There was always a little guy on a surfboard that would say, "You're surfing the wrong wave, dude." Like, it's like, are we trying to be cute about this? Like, I'm 13. My boner is raging right now.
That's incredible. Oh my god.
Yep. That's true.
Wow. We need to bring that back. You know, I'm seeing my little cousins, like, I see my little cousins at, like, family parties, and they're taking my phone or whatever, their parents' phone, and then they're like, look at boobs. Like, yeah, they'll Google, like, weird stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, so I was at a family party, and he Googles 100% naked.
Like, it's great that he Googled it by percentage, though. Right? 100% naked.
I've never seen that in my life. Even as a child,
dude, as a kid, I would get super guilty about stuff like that. Like, for example, a normal person would Google like tits or something. I would Google like bosoms, you know, like because like I didn't want the computer to think that I was informal or anything.
Hey, whoa, man! I'm just looking up bosoms. I don't know, like I didn't mean you're surfing the wrong way, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's yeah.
I'm looking for a bra for my sister.
So you like Dragon Ball Z and things like that. What other TV shows were you into?
I know a lot of people say this, but I mean, that's the era, man. Like, Dexter's Laboratory, Rugrats, dude. Rugrats. Even as an adult, I would open like a new tab for Storm and Rain, and then on another tab watch like Rugrats all the way through, and it'd be the most calming thing. And I think around like 20, I started my like having anxiety, and everything started hitting me, all these symptoms. But then found solace in Rugrats, even now. So like it really shows the power of like your brain.
Yeah,
and like how strong nostalgia is.
It really is. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a podcast about this, because that is a very calming thing, especially for me. I came to find when I was having panic attacks and things like that, that cartoons would actually help a lot of that subside. Watching The Simpsons or watching Doug or watching Rugrats, things like that. I don't know if it was because of the colors or because of the calming aspects of like when I was a kid, everything was fine and, you know, whatever, who knows, but it's very common.
I think it also like takes you away from the things that you're constantly thinking about as an adult, and then you're just can dive into those characters' worlds. Even if you've seen the episode before, it's just like super calming to follow along.
Absolutely.
And you said Doug, which I actually forgot about.
I love Doug.
Which I love Doug.
Yeah.
Like Skeeter and all that. Like that was...
I can do all those sounds.
Patty mayonnaise. Oh yes.
Patty, you're the man, it's for me. Fries, Patty, you're the I'm a tea. Patty, you're the I'm a banjo, and you're the man, it's for me.
You must have seen the live action one when they had it in
dude,
it was MGM at the time.
Not only had I seen it, I was in it. I wasn't like cast in it, but there's elements of it where they ask audience members to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I was in it all the time. I was in it all the time. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah, they would have this like musical version of Doug when it was owned by Disney. So it was grand spanking new Doug. And it was basically just a musical almost where they win free tickets to go see the Beats.
Yeah.
And then the whole joke that they make is that they go to the concert and then the band is people from the audience from the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
And so... But for me, what I would do is I played one of the kids in the front row that Doug and Skeeter got to hang out with while the band played, and I felt awesome because I always wanted to hang out with Doug and Skeeter. I was also young enough to not realize that it was actors, you know? Like, it's like, oh, man, this is great. You know, Doug and Skeeter are here. But, yeah, I definitely saw it. I'm still old enough to remember when... MGM Studios had Ninja Turtles coming in. They had a Ninja Turtle show.
Yo.
Yeah, you remember that?
Small sidetrack.
Yeah.
But I've been watching, even before you contacted me, we were watching the 90s videos of us going to Disney. And me and my sister are watching this one where we're at MGM. And the Ninja Turtles pop out. We're like, where the hell are we?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, that's MGM. I totally forgot to, like... But as a kid, I was like, yo, Ninja Turtles!
Yeah, it was awesome. Of course.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea until I watched that. I'm like, how did I forget that? Like,
yeah. No, I actually only remembered it at all because of family videos as well. Like, that's really the only reason why I remember it. Other than that, I wouldn't remember that the Power Rangers had a show or that the Ninja Turtles had a show or, like, all that stuff. So, and then what about movies? Were you into, like, movies as a kid at all?
I try and think back to movies whenever, like, I don't know, people talk about movies, but I wasn't really, like, a big movie bug because I was... the gamer kid.
Yeah.
So everyone was usually, I watched movies, and also this is kind of going to go back to what I was saying. We were talking about watching the stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's me and my sister dancing to Space Jam.
Yeah.
Space Jam soundtrack.
Dude.
And Spice Girls.
Oh,
so that was
dude.
kind of my two movies.
Okay. Hang on. Have you heard the Space Jam soundtrack lately?
I have it, so if I haven't heard it lately...
Of course you haven't. I'm just saying. I mean...
I should pop it back in.
I just mean in the sense of, like, when you listen to that, especially now, you're like, the producers had to have come into that studio and said, we need an album where every single song sounds like it could be played at a Thunder Wheels or some sort of a roller rink, right? Because every single song has roller skating tempo.
I gotta go back
to
this now.
Like, it's just like boom, Hey, you, what you gonna do? Hey, you, what you gonna do?
Oh, I
Yeah.
gotta pop that CD in. Nobody has CD players anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad. Yeah, you have to get the Space Jam USB or whatever.
USB. That's like a joke thing that we like buy Space Jam on VHS and like gift it to people on Christmas, like to this day.
I know.
And like you're stoked about it, but at the same time you can't freaking play it.
Yeah.
Or you don't know what to do with it.
I know. Yeah, man, that movie, especially watching it as an adult, is so bad. That movie is not.
Are they really making a second?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways, but it doesn't make sense at the same time, because it makes sense in the fact that LeBron is our new Michael Jordan, you know, or like this generation's Michael Jordan. So it makes sense that they would do that. However, I just don't think the Looney Tunes are relevant anymore. You know, they were kind of dying when they came out.
What could they use now? Like, I don't even know what kids are into
Freaking
now.
Paw Patrol.
Like,
It has to be the freaking Paw Patrol dogs, like fighting fire and playing basketball.
And they're playing in like Fortnite or something. Like, Fight to Survive with Paw Patrol and LeBron James. Yo, pitch that. Somebody pitch that.
So you were a gamer, so explain, like, what were your favorite kind of games?
I gotta go back to the video, the VHS.
Absolutely.
But it was Christmas Day. I think I was 3 years old, 93, and I'm opening up all these stuff, and my parents got me like a bunch of cars and like candy and stuff, and then I open this big one up, and I keep pulling out the wrapping, and I'm like, wait a sec, I know what this is. And it's Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo. I'm like,
nice.
All-Stars, woo!
Yeah.
And as I'm opening presents after that, I'm like, we're going to play All-Stars. We're going to play I don't know, that's my canon, like, kid voice, even though I didn't sound like that.
No,
but
that's great.
Because that's what my cousins, like, little cousins sound like. So that's just we're going to talk like this now. It's like a really bad Mickey Mouse. But, yeah, I saw it. I think my parents had bought a Super Nintendo because that was like, I don't know, we nobody knew. It was the 90s, so my parents were like, they were younger than me, they were in their early 20s, and then they're like, oh, what is this thing? So they bought a Super Nintendo, and so my dad would play the Super Mario World, but at 3 years old, I was getting better than him, like within that first couple months. And
you got to hold Y to make Mario run faster, Dad.
If you don't know that, you stop playing the game. Yeah. And then from there, my cousins they had a bunch of different games. And then I see the next I have every Christmas on VHS. So the next Christmas after that, or 2 Christmases, and my sister was born, and she's opening all these Barbies and stuff, and then I think I opened up like Yoshi's Story, and I'm like, yes, I don't have to borrow it from Blockbuster anymore. I'm like, this is the 90s right here.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh, I love that. By the way, as you were telling all these Christmas stories, it's starting to make me realize that kids now, because I remember when you were a kid. Well, not you specifically, but when we were kids, it was always like, get through the small stuff so you can open the big one, because the big one was like the best thing.
You knew it was what you wanted.
Yeah, and now it's like the smaller it is, like, oh, it's probably an iPhone 6 or whatever. You know,
I was gonna say iPod, but that shows how much I freaking keep up with this.
Dude, I said iPhone 6, and even then, people are like, "That's too old." You know, people are like, "They're on iPhone X now. They're on letters."
Kids are on. I'm pretty sure it's iPads.
Yeah,
playing Fortnite. Something like that.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't think action figures are a thing anymore for kids. Like, it's very. Like, everybody likes iPads and things like that, which, granted, I'm not saying live your life, man. I'm not saying that, like, by not playing action figures that my life is better than yours or whatever. Like, whatever makes you happy, do it. Like, this world sucks, and at this point, if something makes you happy, just do it. You know, but as long as you're not hurting people or yourself. But that's the thing is, like, I feel like it's so different. You know, like, Christmas was so different for us. Like, I remember, I'm sure you do too, like, you know, opening like the Megazord from Power Rangers or something, and you're like, this is it, dude. It's a hunk of plastic. Like, that's literally all it is. But you're just like, this is it. And what's great is, like, for us, we probably played with that thing for like 4 years. We came up with like a whole bunch of stories where like Hulk Hogan beat him and like all these different things, you know.
Light Bright. I opened a Light Bright. And I had that thing for so many years, and I still used it. And if you don't remember or you don't know what a Light Bright is, it's just literally a board, a plastic board with a light under it.
Yeah, and no, with a freaking microwave. Like, you would put it on a microwave, and you're like, every time you take your paintings out, you're like, man, my painting's hot. My painting's hot.
Those things. And I did that so hot, dude. So much.
You remember creepy crawlers, dude?
Yeah.
Bro, how many stories of, like, people that would burn their hands and, like, burn their freaking whatever, like, trying to get those stupid creepy crawlers out.
And then sisters would have the Easy Bake Oven.
Yeah.
And it would never come out tasty. Like, those things were always terrible.
Yeah. It's so funny because, like, when we're kids, we probably blame it on our sister. We're like, you suck at baking or whatever. but it's literally just because they're baking under a light bulb.
Okay. So, yeah, that does not work out. And even okay. So, as a little story, a couple years, me and my cousin Frankie trying to cook ramen noodles on a candle. Oh I'm like, yeah, this brings me back to the light, the Easy Bake Ovens, and that was the time I got food poisoning.
Of course, it was.
It didn't cook clearly, and I'm sitting there for like over half an hour with this bowl on top of a candle.
Yeah,
and then I realized.
It gave you food poisoning, and it also tasted like apple cider or whatever the scent of the Yankee Candle was that you were using.
It was definitely one of my favorite scents, which is now one of my least favorite scents.
I'm sure.
The watermelon one.
Yeah, because it's not edible, John.
and whatever that watermelon was, I just instantly like get this gut wrenching feeling. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be sick, dude.
I mean, if you don't eat it, you'll be fine. Which, let's be honest, you're the reason why it says "do not eat" on the candle.
Yeah, blame me for that one for sure.
Yeah. Oops. They should probably get another sticker that says "don't cook ramen on this."
This is not an oven.
Exactly, this is not an oven.
Because I think I saw it in like when you go to the food buffets or whatever, and they have the little candle, or you go to like TY Park or whatever, and they're like, oh, we're having a birthday party for little Timmy, and then they got like little candles with the wicks under them to keep the food hot. So I was like, yo, this is gonna work. I've seen this. And then
come on,
science didn't add up.
It's also like, it reminds me of that scene in a Goofy movie where they make alphabet soup under the cigarette burner. That's not possible, dude.
It looked cool. Like, in the film, it was always a cool part. But
yeah,
in reality, now you're just like...
It's also really cool that Goofy could open it with his teeth, but that's not possible for us to do because we're not cartoons or dogs.
Imagine the dental bills. So what happened, dude? Tried to open a can.
Yeah.
In the car with my teeth.
The guy's like, that's a dumb idea. No, listen, I was just trying to get a better relationship with my son. That's why. We were on a fishing trip. He wanted to go see Powerline, that whole thing. And then the doctor's like, all right, I mean, I guess, sure.
All right, man, it's going to be $9,500.
Yeah, per tooth. But, he's only got 2, so it's not crazy. But... So going into our next bit, what do you remember as far as like product placements? Do you remember any commercials for toys or for food or anything like that?
I know it's kind of like not part of the question, but since we're talking about commercials, maybe that's I can kind of say because this is the one commercial that I remember.
Sure.
What are those like the mattress commercials that would come on?
Oh, the mattress.
There it is.
giant.
Okay,
Ooh,
those. And then there would be like a woman on there, and she's selling the mattress. I would go up to the TV and kiss the woman on those
Dude,
commercials.
I'll do you one better. I would go to the mall with my mom, and I would pretend that me and the mannequin were getting married. Yeah, because I can't kiss her unless we're married.
Did she just like watch you like get married?
I have no idea what she did. She was probably just like, what? I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, like I would I would pretend to marry the mannequin, and then I would kiss it on the hand, mostly because I couldn't reach where the mouth was.
So romantic.
Yeah. It's so stupid. Is Mattress Giant like all over America, or is that just in Florida?
That's a good question. All I know is...
Dude, my local commercial that I will never get out of my head, I mean, gun to my head, you pay me $1 million, there is no way I'm getting this commercial out of my head, is the Florida Center for Cosmetic Surgery song.
Oh, man. If you guys don't know about this, we're going to kick it off right now. Ready?
I can't believe you know this too. Yes!
We got to hit you with a jam right here.
First of all, I'm sure you know the chorus. Do you know the verse?
There was a verse?
Yeah, there was naturally you're looking good. You look just like you dreamed you would. You're having fun, you're at your best. And all it took was just one look. Florida Center for Cosmetic Surgery. Just one look is worth 1,000 words. Dun, dun, dun. And like right when that would happen, there was always a girl that had basically basketballs for boobs coming out of a pool. And I never understood because I was too young to like understand what plastic surgery was. So it's like, why are all these girls in bikinis and why do they have basketballs in their chest?
Yeah, I don't think I learned the vocabulary for cosmetics until definitely a much later age, like after high school. So I still didn't know.
Till after high school?
I'm like, oh, that's what that commercial was when I was a kid. They were talking about titties.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's really funny. That commercial would play all the time because I would watch it at my grandma's house because, like, at my grandma's house, I would be able to watch, like, Jerry Springer and stuff like that. So I'd have, like...
grandma got the fix.
Yeah. So, like, I would watch, like, you know, You Married My Cow or whatever. And then that would always play, like, every 30 minutes. It would always play, like, 500 times.
Dude, at my grandma's house, we would watch Arthur and Dragon Tales.
Oh, I mean, I watched that at my grandma's house, too, but...
No, and I'm pretty sure my grandma watched, like, Jerry Springer, too. That's how I found out about that stuff. But
yeah.
Man, I think, what else I watch? I don't know. My parents let me watch and do, like, pretty much not do anything, but they, like...
You never had to sneak anything past your parents?
I mean, I wasn't, like... I wasn't bringing, like, the worst thing, like,
I mean, like, because I had to sneak, like, R-rated movies and stuff like that.
But I feel like they never, like, stopped me completely, like, hey, you can't watch that. I actually have another story to go back from watching the VHS.
Yeah.
It was us at Disney, and I am pretending that I'm Cartman, and I was only, like, I'm Cartman. And I think I was, like, 10 or something, 9 or 10. And I guess the South Park movie must have came out. Yeah. And I remember going with my grandma. And my parents were like, whatever. I was hanging out with my grandma. And I went with my grandma. And she's like, this is awful. Like, she's just shaking her head the whole time. But I was loving it. So they never kept me from that stuff. Yeah. As long as I guess, didn't do anything terrible. But they always let me do or watch or consume whatever I wanted. So.
Yeah, it was the opposite for me. What kind of cereals were you into as a kid? Were you a cereal person?
I was. I feel like definitely tastes have changed because
we're an adult. We're adults now.
I was super into like Fruit Loops and stuff like that. Anything that was like colorful and really sugary. Okay. I do have a story tied behind that, I guess, because whenever I think about cereal as a kid, I remember I think I said, like, I didn't feel good, whatever it was, I didn't want to go to school. and I'm sitting at the dining room table, and I'm sitting there with my cereal, and I don't know if it was either my mom getting mad because I didn't eat my cereal. I think maybe it was that. Maybe because I didn't eat my cereal, and she wanted me to finish that before I left. So I'm sitting there the entire day. I'm talking like 7 to whatever, like 5 in the afternoon, like my hand right on my chin, just looking at the bowl of cereal. The entire day I sat in that chair and I didn't eat that cereal.
Why?
And she was so pissed.
Like, what were you doing for that long? Were you just like thinking about life?
I wish I could remember that, but imagine trying to sit in front of a bowl of cereal right now for like 12 hours.
Dude, I can't do that for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
no phone, no nothing. I stared at that freaking cereal, dude.
what the heck?
I had some type of experience.
Yeah. That's so weird.
That's what I remember about childhood cereal.
Well,
now I'm scarred for life. Don't make me eat cereal.
Well, well, with this, so stupid. This next bit, we like to review cereal. So,
All right, man, it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been good. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
So this next bit, I like to review cereal, and usually I like to review a cereal that has something to do with my guest in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I found a very specific one for you. I spoke with my sponsors over at Post. Now, by sponsor, I mean that I like them and I buy all their products. And by spoke to, I mean that I tweeted them repeatedly and they didn't get back to me. So what I got for you was Sour Patch Kids cereal.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Never had this.
So the reason why I got this for you is for a couple of reasons. One, because the amount of time that I've known you, and it's just my memory, so I don't know if it's true or not, but you're always somebody that seems to always have snacks with you.
Dang, that's so true.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Like, I was worried that it was my memory.
And I come over here and show up with
You show up with snacks. And I was like, oh, this guy's always got snacks on deck. Like,
That's
always.
true.
So that's a reason why. And also because if anyone knows you and your music and your career, you used to be in a very, like, heavier kind of a band and things like that. So that would be, like, the sour aspect of you. But that's just the outer coating. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, you're just a sweet kid. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I got Sour Patch Kids cereal for you.
Wow.
So I'm going to open this box.
I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, me neither, because I've never had this.
No way.
Yeah, this is straight from the Post factory. I'm going to go ahead and pour some into my Reptar cereal bowl, and I'll try to mic it for all the ASMR weirdos that like to loop it and make it their ringtone or whatever the weird thing it is that they do. Very, very colorful.
I'm going to speak the rest of the segment in whispers, if that's okay with you.
You know what that reminded me of? Did you ever hear that Juvenile song, Slow Motion?
Yeah.
Could you imagine an ASMR version of it? I like it like that. She working that back. I don't know how to act so much. And people are like, yes, nostalgia. It's getting that part of my brain that no normal person has except for me. So, John, it would be fun to review this cereal. But what would be more fun is to review this as a Sour Patch Kid. Now, I think you're going to have a relatively good time doing this because you've already been doing this voice already. So,
oh, man. What is a Sour Patch Kid's voice? I got it.
I'll play some music here. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, everyone. We're going to be eating some Sour Patch Kids. There's red ones and blue ones and green ones and I forget what color that is, but I like that one too. Anyways, here we go. You know what? My parents told me not to say this word, but it's fucking terrible. Why can't I stop eating it? It's sour, and now it's sweet.
Oh my gosh. A literal Sour Patch Kid, ladies and gentlemen. What did it taste like?
Definitely really accurate. And
Really? To the actual candy?
it's kind of like they freeze-dried Sour Patch Kids. So
Okay, hang on. They nailed this.
Right.
This tastes like an actual Sour Patch Kid,
bizarre.
except it isn't a gummy. However, who wants this in their cereal?
So I just had a sip of water. I'm trying to like get the taste out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to imagine it with milk.
Yeah.
Because I don't see it.
Hey, is this milk sour or is it my cereal?
Yo, that's one way to enjoy your sour milk. See, when you live in a poor household,
Yeah.
and you want your kids to eat,
Yeah.
and your milk goes bad, you don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
Sour Patch Kids, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Okay, so let's transition into more current kind of stuff. So let's talk about the sour part in your life, which it isn't sour
It's
at
not
all.
sour.
Like, it's not sour.
It's rock and roll, sour, kind
Yeah.
of synonyms there.
Exactly. But you were in a band with a whole bunch of buddies that we all know called Give Up Ghost. And you can actually check out the album. It's on Spotify. It's called Press Start, right?
That's right.
It's great. It has some metal themes in there. There's a lot of like gamer kind of things in there, like Sensa, who did like the electronic stuff for the album and for the band. He basically played live with a Game Boy, right? Like a Game Boy mod.
Right. So that's kind of like, if you like heavy music and you kind of want to see something a little bit different or hear something a little bit different, you can hear the sounds from the Game Boy, which is called chiptune.
Yeah.
And that implemented into those catchy lyrics and melodies that I had and that heavier sound, like that's what Give Up Ghost was. And it's really unique, like to this day, I feel like. But yeah, that's part of my sour, my rock and roll sour past.
Yeah. Well, it's not a sour pass, but
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's
but just for
definitely not bad at all.
just for the sense of the scary coding, like it's like Hot Topic. Like the idea of Hot Topic is a lot scarier than it is because
That's
once you
true.
go in, you're like, oh, this is just a bunch of Pokemon shirts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of who you are. You're a walking, talking Hot Topic. That's
Oh
what you
God. Oh my God.
If anything, you're like a box lunch because you're like Hot Topic, but you're organized. You know?
Okay. I'll take that one.
But yeah. So
So
and
funny.
now you have this new project called Hologram Hearts,
Right.
which is basically you got the chiptune aspect of it, you got the synth and all these different things, plus the pop melody. So now it's way more, I would say it's a mixture of radio pop, but also kind of like a Japanese rock style, right? Something
Yeah,
like that?
I feel like we were trying to play with a lot of unique, the chords that you usually hear in like Japanese progressions and really kind of like anime, but not too anime because we're still here like doing the modern pop kind of thing. So I hear a lot of people compare that to something like Owl City.
Oh, yeah.
Like if Owl City met Anamanaguchi and
Okay.
they like made a track, that's like what that kind of would sound like. So that was kind of like our preference going in at least like.
In what sense is it Owl City? Because you guys definitely don't sing about strawberries and birds. Or
I don't-
Neapolitan ice cream.
You know, I never. Yeah, I wish I could, but it's not wrong. Like
That's 100% what
I
it
think
is.
about all the time.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the comments always said that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess I could hear it, but I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But that's what people say, so I just repeat.
It's so funny how people will compare you to other people who were more famous than you, and they're always wrong. You know, there's always like these weird equates, you know, and I get this as an actor a lot where it's just like, you know, oh, you look like name any overweight actor with glasses ever that I look absolutely nothing like, you know. They're like, man, you look just like him. No, I don't.
No. I don't see it.
I don't see it. I might have the same glasses as that guy, and I have like black hair, but that's the only thing that's really similar. It's weird. People are weird. How many songs have you guys released?
There are definitely some that aren't on Spotify there.
Yeah, you have some on SoundCloud as well.
There's
right?
some SoundCloud stuff. There's YouTube exclusive stuff. And, I think we never really were... for me, it's like trying to push a project like in social media is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of
I know.
yeah, like
hey guys, look at this thing that I checked out. Me.
Yeah. So it's weird, like being an artist now. You're really creating everything on your own unless you have the money to like get everyone to create everything for you.
Yeah.
So it's like when I'm making all this stuff, I just do whatever I want to do, and then like if I can, there's so many projects like sitting. Or songs or videos like sitting in our computers that like we just never really got around to, but when we do something and we finish it through, like we'll post it up. So that's why it's kind of just like randomly scattered in all those places, and probably because like we don't really know what we exactly want to do or where to take it, so they're kind of just sitting in those places. I think there's like 3 or 4 songs on Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that, and then there's like an exclusive one for YouTube with a music video that we had shot with David, which is a blast. That was really fun, and that came out really, really good. So if
you set a piano on fire.
If anything, definitely check that one out. That's very nice. And then there was I think when we really started, we were doing, if you've heard of Hatsune Miku, basically a Vocaloid is a Japanese robot singer. You type in whatever, and then you give her the melodies and the notes, and she'll sing that. And there was a contest going on, and we were like, you know what, this is like really weird, but let's teach ourselves that, and then and make a song, and I don't know, we did that in like 48 hours. We like made that song, and it's the most like unique Japanese thing we've ever done, and it was like super fun. But that one is like specifically on SoundCloud. I don't know if we're allowed to upload that because it's like it's in part with Hatsune Miku, but that was really fun too. So that was kind of like little adventures here and there. You can see us doing those things as a timeline.
Yeah, for sure. So a question that I wanted to ask you before we were rolling, but then I just decided that it would be better if we did it on the podcast because it's kind of a funny question, but it's kind of like a serious question at the same time. I was looking through your personal YouTube channel called Puppy Party Panic, and there's one that you guys uploaded just recently, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I found it really funny that the video right before that was maybe 3 years ago, and it was a video titled, "Why Am I So Lazy?"
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I thought that was really funny, and I thought it would be a really funny talking point to talk about.
Oh my God.
Because it's something that I struggle with too. And sometimes it could be our minds, our self-consciousness. It could be all these things. So what is it personally for you that stops you from creating all the time? And what's funny is like sometimes you're a lot busier than the world might think you are.
Yeah.
But if you're not posting, then are you alive anymore? It's kind of like that South Park joke, where it's like, are you alive if you're not on Instagram?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
I think it's a really good conversation and really, really good psychological things to talk about here. It's kind of a lot to unpack. I think that, you get caught up in, at my age particularly, trying to figure out who you are as an adult. And I think, creatively, that I think if we go back right after high school, it was 19, I had gotten out of my first relationship, and then I had anxiety, and I started with anxiety, and it was so weird, and I felt like nobody understood, and then I felt weird, but I was listening to, like we said earlier, like Simple Plan and Linkin Park and all these bands like on the rise, and then I met like a couple of people from high school and my cousin, and we started a band. And I was just like, even though I was feeling bad, I was singing in this garage, and I felt better. And so that was like the first thing that helped me get over my anxiety stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt good, like singing all this stuff that like I kept inside. And I was like raised as a kid, even though my parents, like, they gave me a lot, I felt like, you know, I'm really grateful for it. They really spoiled me as a kid, but it's also like really sheltered. So I didn't really have, you know, I never really was an outspoken kid.
Yeah.
I keep all that stuff to myself. So this is like the first time I was like putting all of that somewhere, and that really helped me out. And then it kind of like carries over into the next part of life where I'm been trying to figure out like who I am as an adult. So like, you know, where do I fit in making money in a society? Like, how am I going to get to the next place in my life? Like, how am I going to be out on my own? Like, who am I going to be with relationship wise? Like, there was so much there, still is. And it's like, I don't think it's like that, like people say lazy, like a negative connotation to it.
I wouldn't say it's laziness.
But what it really is, like at its core, is that you're so exhausted from all these things you're trying to figure out, not only on the outside, but on the inside. I think you're your own biggest enemy.
Of course.
And especially if you suffer from anxiety and stuff like that, and then you're trying to figure out all of these things and you want to do things creatively, or you want to post more, whatever it is, but you have one moment where you can rest and you just take it. It's so much easier to take that and be like, oh yeah, let me like breathe for a second. Let me just play this game. Let me talk to this person. Let me hang out with my friends or my girlfriend or whatever it is. Like, and that becomes comfort for you. And then you don't get around to doing the creative things that you love until you hit like this part where you don't have those things anymore, and then you jump back into like being creative.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but I feel like you understand. Like,
no, I definitely do. And in fact, something that I've been struggling with a lot lately, and I was kind of realizing it as you were talking, is that I have a very sonic memory. I remember audio a lot more than people's faces and things like that. And so that's why I remember songs. That's why I remember, you know, all these different commercials for things, because I remember these, like, you got to get to the end because then blah. Like, another thing too is like, I also have a, you know, and David would make fun of me all the time. Which I'm talking about David Gomez, the other half of my best friend. And he would make fun of me all the time because it's very common for people to, like, whenever they're singing a song that isn't theirs or whatever, they'll sing it like in a different key. Like, for example, they'll sing like the Lion King theme song. Like, they'll sing Circle of Life. Like, they'll just go, but in my head, it drives me crazy because I know that it actually sounds like and it's actually a different note, and that bothers the crap out of me every time somebody does.
It's like audio OCD.
It kind of is in a weird way. And so, I mean, granted, if somebody's like covering a song or whatever and they're like trying to make it their own, sure, that's fine. But when someone's like, yeah, have you ever heard that Lion King theme song? The one that goes, like, that's not how it sounds. Like,
oh, God.
So that is kind of a thing for me. And I was noticing recently when I've been writing a bunch of music because I'm trying to write a new record, and every time I would start a song, I would always go, nope, sounds like another song.
Yeah.
Nope, sounds like another thing. Nope, sounds like this other thing. So much so that it would discourage me from keeping writing the song and just be like, you know what, forget it. I'm just not a good musician. There's plenty of musicians in this world. They don't need me. So that's like a very common thing for me, which it sucks, you know, and it's something that a lot of people, I'm sure, struggle with but never admit. But it's 100% a huge issue with me.
Well, it's good to even hear that from somebody else because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're making all this stuff. And at first, you're kind of like, I think I love starting projects. And I'm like, yo, this is so good. I'll start it up, and then I'm like, I think if I sit on it too long, I started to try and understand like why I think the way I do and how could I like make the best productivity out of it. And like if I'll start it up and I'll be hyped about it, and if I let it linger too long, exactly, I have those thoughts where I'm just like, it's been done before. People, we don't really need this, and it's not really going to be that good. You just start overthinking it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like there's people who will make shit and they'll put it out like the same day.
Yeah, and they won't realize it sounds like something until I'm like, that sounds like that thing, and then they're like, uh-oh.
But then there's also like people who get popular off of that.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like it's a weird formula that you can't figure out, because like how much do you perfect something, and then how much do you just go off of the feeling and just let it be and just release it out to the world?
Yeah.
So I think I'm still a lot of us are still trying to figure that out, like, and especially like you said, you are fighting with yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is not enough for me. You're trying to impress yourself. And there's so many people that'll be like, oh, Mike, this sounds so good. And you're just like, yeah, thanks. And you just never do anything with it.
Yeah. Or you're like me and you say, yeah, thanks. But in your own mind, you're like, stop lying to me. Like that kind of thing. I say that to myself all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, I still remember to this day, we played a show at the Talent Farm a few years ago, and we opened for Stages and Stereos, this great band. And it wasn't a bad set, but it wasn't the best set we had ever had. And I was like hyping it up in my head of like, man, this is going to be so great, and so many people are going to be here, and we're going to get opportunities, and this is going to be amazing. And we played that show, and we were fine. We weren't horrible. We weren't great, but we weren't horrible. We were fine. And people were coming up to me afterwards, and they were like, hey, that was great. You guys did great. And I would just like shake their hand, smile, say thank you. And in my head, I would go, please stop lying to me. Mm-hmm. In my own head, every single time. And it's almost like God saw what was happening and put these two specific girls in my life, like at that moment, where I met them and they were like, that was really great. And the same thing, like, stop lying to me, all this stuff. And she talked to me for a little while about, like, what's your album about and all this stuff. And I explained it to her kind of nonchalantly, like not thinking that she was going to get it or like anything like that, just very nonchalantly, because I was so in my head about this show and about how we sucked when in all reality we probably didn't suck. And she was like, I have to get this. And so she said she got all the merch, and she just told me, I just wanted to let you know you were my favorite band tonight. And it was just like, that moment is almost like, it was literally God telling me, dude, you need to shut up and like stop thinking like that, because it's not about your dumb thoughts. People experience music differently than you do. And the way that you experience music is like, it has to be perfect and it has to be this. And if it isn't this, then you're going to get upset. Like, that's a stupid way to live. People are just enjoying the moment. Her and her friend went, yes, to see Stages and Stereos. But they found something new.
Yeah.
And they found something that they liked, so much so that they ended up buying my merch over the band that they came to see.
What just happened to me too.
Yeah. And it's not to say that we're better than a certain band or anything like that. It's just like, it's just a moment where you kind of need to step back and be like, every voice is important. Whether it's through making music and recording it, or just literally being the voice that tells your friend whatever it is that they need to hear at that one specific moment, and that's the voice they needed to hear to be like, oh, you're right.
The saying is, if you want to succeed and get better, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And it's beyond true.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's crazy, man.
Would you say that, like, I heard the phrase recently, fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
I guess what's been happening the past couple months, I was actually trying to get on Sumerian Records, and I was going back and forth with some very important people.
Yeah.
And I was like, this might be happening, which is nuts.
Yeah.
and they would tell me like, we think you could do it, you know, the potential's there, you just have to fake it till you make it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm stoked on it, but I like think about it, and I like, you know, when I have time, and I would be like, is that like how I should be doing music though? Like, I'd feel, because a lot of times I'm like, this isn't the way to get here. This is not me, and I would hate to like represent based off of, they're like, you need to be the next Tyler Carter.
Yeah.
This is some tea right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Like, they're like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that's an important phrase, because what sells is being genuine. And all the time, I'm sure you definitely understand too, it's like, we're really good at impersonations. We're really good at copying whatever it is we see, what we enjoy. But like, for us to believe in our own, what's the word? How would I say, genuine?
Yeah.
Whatever, our own uniqueness, like, we actually have to just get out of our own way. And so those have been like kind of important phrases for me. And
yeah, it's definitely true. I think that phrase is right, but I don't think that it's right at the same time.
Right.
Because you definitely should fake it till you make it, in the sense of like the confidence. Because, for example, if you're not walking around like you are the next Tyler Carter, then who's going to believe you?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
like, yeah, have the confidence, fake that till you make it, because God only knows, dude, we don't have that confidence. And I can tell you this, I can almost guarantee you Tyler Carter doesn't have that confidence either. You know, he walks around like, oh, remember when you put on your pants and your shirt, you're Tyler Carter. You know, like, he probably has that conversation with himself every day. I think there's two different kinds of music. Like, yes, there's genres and sounds, and like, but there's different kinds of artists, I guess, is the best way to put it. And there's the packaged artists, you know, where it's like, it almost feels like they were made in a factory. Where it's like, did you practice this speech that you also didn't realize you were going to win? Like, I'm talking about Taylor Swift, but like, where she gives these looks of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I won. Like, you're the number one artist. Like, duh.
This is your life.
Are you a moron? Like, what is going on? And then they like have these things that they rehearse where it's like, you know, some of it could be genuine. Some of it could just be to, like, you know, stroke other people's egos and, you know, things like that. To where it's like, I feel like the people that are genuine are great. And those are the people that a lot of people love. And like the Kurt Cobains of the world and like things like that, where they're just so genuine. Like, nobody is like them. But they're so scarred and flawed in so many ways because they're not acting, they're real people. And so I don't know, and I could be wrong, you know, but thankfully it feels like there's a few people in the mainstream that have gotten to where they are for being genuine, like the Brendan Urie's of the world and things like that. Like, there are some people that are successful that have been genuine since day one. But who knows? Who am I to say that Taylor Swift isn't genuine? Maybe she does talk like a robot. Who knows? Maybe that's who she actually is. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know her personally. But, you know, it just feels like there's very specific artists where it's like, oh, like, you were definitely taught on how to say this and what words to use and things like that.
That actually, that whatever you're saying there is making me think of a conversation I had in my head. The other day was, I was writing, I was writing, just trying to do some new lyrics, and it was, I said, talent doesn't come from happy, healthy people. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? And I talked about it a couple minutes ago. Like, I have had a good life. Like, growing up, my parents gave me everything. Very spoiled, very like sheltered. I got everything I wanted, and I've been definitely like healthy as a kid. I haven't been through such hard stuff. So I'm like, do I have a place in music if I'm not, like, if I am a happy, healthy person? Like,
Yeah.
so that was one thing, like, that kind of made me question, like, should I be more damaged to make great, genuine things? But I definitely don't think that that's the case. But in my head, I'm constantly telling myself that I'm not, like, messed up enough. And so, like, when I'm making something, I can't get out of my own way because I'm just thinking about all the good things that I have, and I want to make all this stuff that I'm not actually feeling.
Look, man, I don't think any of that matters because it's been a few episodes since I've talked about Donald Glover, but I'll talk about Donald Glover because it seems like I talk about him all the time. But Donald Glover had a life just like you and me. Yeah, he had some things where, like, he grew up in Atlanta. He grew up as a foster kid. Sure, he had his little isms, but it didn't stop him from rapping about writing for 30 Rock and Tina Fey. And sure, there were a lot of people that liked it, and sure, there were a lot of people that hated it, but people were listening. And I think that that's the true testament of something being good. If you and I can watch the same movie or listen to the same album and be like, I loved it, and then you're like, I hated it. That's the testament of a good piece of art because it's a conversation. You know, it's a conversation of, like, this is why I liked it and all this stuff, and, like, but this is why I didn't like it and things like that. An album or a movie isn't your personality. Like, as much as millennials want to think that, it isn't your personality. Like, Radiohead isn't who you are. They're a band, you know, and like, we can like them or not like them. It doesn't mean that I hate you or that I like you. Like, it just is what it is. But that's also something I was thinking about as well, where it's like, my struggle is not that I want everyone to like what I'm doing. My struggle is that I just want everyone to hear it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Like, you can hear what I'm doing and hate it as long as you're listening. Because also, if you hate it, that means there's a number of people that probably like it. Because I do know that I'm talented enough for people to like it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that you know that you're talented enough for people to like what you're doing. You know, so it is that as well. So the real fear is just, like, how do we get people to listen to this thing, you know, without, or listen or watch or whatever when, you know, freaking FedEx.com has a streaming service, you know, like.
Right, without sounding like egotistical
Sure.
people. We want to be able to promote our things, but at the same time, like, you're making this art for a reason, whatever your reason is, and to promote it, especially in our day and age now, it feels kind of like forced, and it doesn't. That, like, when you discover bands or even people, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever
When you discover people.
whatever you're into, like, whenever you discover them, like, how do you do it? It's changed for the past decade and decade and decade. Is constantly, like, changing. So, like, now when I'm finding out about music, like,
Dude, let me tell you something, and I'm probably going to cut this out, but it's just, it just has to do with this conversation. But I went to Pollo Tropical yesterday, and it's
where's this going?
No, it's trust me, just the place has nothing to do with it. I just needed to tell you where I was. But I went and I was in the drive-thru, and the girl that was taking my order was taking way too long, was asking me over and over what my order was. And all I wanted was white chicken by itself and a Diet Coke. That's it. It was a very simple order. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. So I was like, it's got to be her first day. I mean, like, on Earth. Like, she doesn't know what chicken is. Like, or something. Like, chicken is in the name of your restaurant. I mean, it is in Spanish, but it's still the name of your restaurant. So I go in, and then I give her my money. She gives me the complete wrong change, and she's taking forever. And then finally she goes, sorry, it's just somebody famous was in the car before you. Dude, I can't even tell you how offended I was.
What?
But then I got mad at myself for getting offended, because to me, I was like, who is this guy? And also, I've been in things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I got mad at myself for being like for having the ego. I was like trying to think like I was like it better have been the freaking Rock, dude. It better have been like I don't even know, you know.
It's
and then I
probably
started
like a influencer on Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that the word celebrity has changed so much.
Yes.
20 years ago, if you met someone famous, that meant they were in TV shows or they were in a movie or they were in a commercial that you saw.
And they get paid a totally different amount.
Now seeing someone famous is like, oh, he's famous because I follow him on Instagram and he's not one of the 12 people I know on Instagram.
Yeah. Influencer, man.
But everyone's an influencer, I guess. You know, it's just like I'm a cereal influencer. I'm not getting paid by cereal. You know what I mean? Like, but I am influencing people to eat cereal. It's influencer's such a dumb word. Like,
Yeah, I know. I know. But it makes you feel bad because you're like,
of course
like,
it does, and it's a stupid reason to feel bad. That's my point.
Because you're like, I'm a person too, and I've done things, but we've come into like this point where we're just like, we need that type of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not attention, like that recognition from so many people to feel successful.
Yeah,
and I think that's so many people now. Even like kids who are a story from my last job. You know, I'm working at a yogurt shop, and this kid comes in all the time with his dad. I talk to them all the time, and so the dad knows that like I do music and all this stuff and some YouTube videos, and they were like, cool, we'll follow you. And I don't know how many followers I have, probably like 100 or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
And then the kid is on his iPad watching Jacksepticeye and all this. So he's like, the kid's like, you're like PewDiePie? You're like Jacksepticeye? And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like,
in that I'm a person who talks about video games and I really don't have a life. Sure.
I guess if I have like 3 videos and I've just played games my whole life, like, but see, that's where like what our generation and the next and this coming decade is like, that's what we consider another version of success.
Yeah.
Even if they're not making money, it doesn't matter. If they're known and they're all over the place, like, we consider that success. So we feel like if we're not that, we're not successful. It doesn't matter how we fit into society, like what job we're doing. We can have like this great IT job and we're fixing things for Apple and whatever the heck. It doesn't matter. Like, we don't feel successful.
Yeah.
Even if we made a bunch of money, we had a freaking mansion. We don't feel successful because we're not known. And that's a weird thing. That's a weird time.
As an actor, I've never felt like I wanted to be known. I thought of this, and it sounds funny, but like it's a lot like actors and women are very similar in that they want to be seen, but they don't want to be watched. You know, like, no, I don't want somebody to watch me because then that's creepy.
Yeah.
But I do want you to see what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the same time. Like, that's why I do what I do.
Ooh,
so you could see it. But I don't want you to watch me because that's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of a thing.
That's a good way to say it.
Also, like, I think a lot of those things are changing. You know, like, I think that Instagram and all that stuff is changing because it's starting to mean that, like, fame is currency.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
I know, exactly.
It's really freaking weird.
And we're seeing it a lot. It's a weird time.
Yeah, it's really freaking weird. But moving on into a little bit of a different topic, tell me some stories from the stage, like some either funny moments or like, who knows? I've been to a lot of your shows, and there's never really been like funny moments. I'll be honest. Other than one time. And we share this moment, but go ahead.
Was it Pizza Mosh? Because that's what I...
Pizza Mosh.
Whenever I think about...
Pizza Mosh. Okay, so I was in 2 stories.
I always think about that picture of you and like running around. You guys are pizza moshing. It was so cool. One of my, I guess, kind of going back to what you were talking about later, I want to be seen, not watched kind of thing. After a show, I don't know, wherever we were. Oh, you know what? We were playing a birthday party. And then after we played, and it was for all the 15-year-old emos, kind of era. And after we play, we're like packing up our stuff, and someone comes up from behind me and like covers my eyes. Well, and they like hug me from behind for like a really long time. They're like, "Guess who?" And I'm like thinking, "Oh, it's my tour manager. Oh, it's this person, whatever." I don't know. I'm like thinking, because it was for a long time. It was like 2 minutes of just hugging me. And I'm
this
like,
better be my mom.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's the only way this is going to be okay.
Right.
And it was this random girl
that I've never seen.
When I turned around, I was like, "Hey, all right."
Yeah, how in the world are you supposed to guess? I've never met you.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I would have no idea.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Now when someone says "guess who," you should just be like, "I don't know, Abraham Lincoln." Like, it could literally be anybody.
Hey, man, if the roles were reversed, I'd be arrested.
That's true.
But that was one of the like weird ones, that like weird stories that kind of like not creeped me out, but just made me feel like weird.
Yeah.
I have a moment like you were talking about where my parents were at the Revolution show, and they saw like how many people were there, and it just felt so big, and we were like putting out all our merch, and like we were just flying off our shelf, and we were like, I was like, whoa. Like,
Was that the show where I sang with you guys?
Revolution show, was that? Is that what we brought out, like the Pac-Man stuff too? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show.
We did a lot there.
That story is really funny because I don't know if you remember this, but during the song, it was, I forget the name of the song. Was it Prince of Egypt or something? Is that the name of the song, Prince of Egypt?
Now I'm trying to think about what relates to Prince of Egypt.
That song. You used to call it Egypt.
Do I know?
That's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Egypty. Dang it. What was it? Kingdom in the Clouds.
That's what it was. And I sang the bridge at the very end that Drake Staffer usually sings.
I remember that.
But what happened was that something was going on with the loops and during the whole show.
Yep.
And it came out to my part in the song. And then, you were like, "Everybody welcome Mike Valdes from Mike Valdes and the Noise." Crowd goes freaking crazy. And then it's just a whole verse of me a cappella. Just going, "I am the keeper." Because there was no music. It was all supposed to be looped. So there's no music. And so it was just so awkward. And then finally, you got to a point where you came over and you helped me. You sang the rest of the part with me to make it like less weird that I was the only person doing anything on stage. It was really funny. I mean, granted, there's a part where the whole band comes in, and
back,
and then it became normal. But there's like a whole like, realistically, it was maybe 7 to 8 seconds, but it felt like 25 minutes.
I know that feeling, man.
And so there's that story is really funny for sure. But that's mostly because I have a personal tie to it. But yeah, and then that was the show where we brought like huge like Pac-Man ghosts
so
and things like that.
That was iconic.
Yeah, and then we made them like during the breakdown. We had the mosh. It was awesome. It was really cool. Yeah, I forgot about pizza moshing as well, but I forget what it was. But you guys were playing at the Talent Farm, and it was a really good show. It was really, really packed in there. And
Was it Brian Stars?
Yeah, it was that Brian Starr show.
I was so sick.
That's what it was.
I was like coughing up a lung.
Were you really?
But I was like, gotta do it.
Yeah.
And Manny was filling in on bass.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and so I forgot if it was in your green room or what, but there was like a pizza box, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. I'm gonna freaking pizza mosh out there, and you guys are like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. And then, and it was like me and Joe and a bunch of other people, And we just got inside of a mosh pit and just started like throwing pizza boxes and hitting people with pizza boxes and like pretending like we would get the lid and like pretend that it was a huge pizza monster. It was awesome.
And then like dancing around it. And, like,
Yeah.
I think, was it you or Joe like stuck your head like through
That
the
was
middle of
Joe.
the pizza box?
That was
and then
Joe.
you're like, wow.
There was a band that got very mad at us, and they hocked a loogie from the front of the stage,
Yeah, dude.
trying to hit us.
They
yeah,
were really
they were really upset.
really uptight dudes.
Yeah, they were in some punk band that nobody liked, but
Yep.
yeah, they sang about like dying and things like that. That's mostly. They're like those people where like you see them, like you see what they're wearing, and you're like, oh man, they're gonna be so heavy. And then they start playing, and then they have all these guitars on stage, but then it just sounds like old, like clocks. Like all their music is just grandfather clocks going doom, doom. Because to them, that's the creepiest thing in the world. Is a grandfather clock saying it's 7:00 p.m. You know, and so that's
creepy.
Yeah.
So dark and mysterious.
Yeah. And they're just like, I can't go to school anymore. Like, you know, you're 35. Of course you can't go to school anymore.
The cop stopped me at the front door.
Oh man. That's so good, dude. Do you have any other funny stories? Like,
I do.
Did you ever play live shows with Hologram Hearts or no?
No, we didn't. Eventually, like, I do want to get back into that, and it's something I did want to touch base on before I tell this tour story.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back, like, rewind a little bit about why I do music or whatever. And we're talking about the stage, like, that's what really my favorite part is for making music. Like, some people enjoy the studio and some people enjoy putting things online, whatever it is you enjoy. Like, but for me, I remember specifically like being on stage, and I don't even think of it as like oh, this is like everyone look at me kind of thing. It was like I just felt super alive like in that moment. And that was like when you would think like being in front of a giant crowd, like when we did Warped Tour, I'm like, my heart is coming out of my butt right now.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get on there, like I felt so good.
Yeah.
And
your butt feels great when you're on stage.
It's coming back.
You're like, my butt feels awesome right now. You're like, why your butt? It's because my heart, forget it.
Yeah.
I'll explain it later.
Just turns toward the crowd and like spins down and spreads my butt cheeks. Like,
Throw my heart out for you guys. You're like, what are you talking about?
damn it.
That was so stupid.
That's
man.
one memorable moment.
Yeah, for sure.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I know it didn't.
But I'd be kicked off a Warped Tour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, just not you.
Shoot, that was just so good that I can't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, that was such a good fake story that my real story isn't good.
Dude, it's so stupid because as a kid, my parents always bought me memory games, little flip things like
Yeah.
Guess Who, but memory.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I got those so often. And now as an adult, my memory is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, what's the correlation there? I don't know. It's ironic. Yeah, but that feeling, like, I think that's why I really enjoy music, because I like the entertainment of it. I like talking about taking out the Pac-Man ghosts and stuff. Like, that was cool. No other band was doing something that, like, entertaining. I love entertaining, because when I go to watch a show, if it's just like any other band, I'm like, cool. Like, they could have killed it and whatever. But to me, I'm just like sitting there and I will enjoy what they did. They replicated the sound and I'm like, cool. But if something is like really entertaining and unique in some sort of way, that I'm just like, I can't look away. That's why I think I really love the production when you see like big shows.
Yeah.
When I go see like Ariana and Panic at the Disco, like their set, obviously there's a butt ton of money in there.
Yeah, they have the budget.
But I love that aspect of shows. So like the music carries you in one way, but what you're seeing and feeling at that moment, what they can do, is so cool to me.
Yeah.
So like, I'm missing that a lot, and I think that's whenever I'm bummed out about not being out there with my music or anything, it's mostly because of that. It's because I'm not entertaining and performing, and that's really at the core, like, why I enjoy it. So I could make a bunch of tracks. I could tell you right now that I'm putting things out, but I wouldn't be like super stoked on it.
Yeah.
I would just be like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But if I got to perform it in my own way, like, that's what I would enjoy about it.
Yeah.
But I'll go back to the tour story. Yeah. So we were in a hotel, like, I don't know, we were like 6 dudes, and we had like 4 chicks with us that were helping us out, and
that's so many people.
I'm pretty sure it was 4, if not more, if not, in one, regular hotel room, and and we're all in our early 20s. How many does this
sleep? Oh, just 2 to 4. Okay,
no
well,
problem.
We got 15.
We'll take it. Yeah. So we're up there bringing like air mattresses and stuff, and just tour things, and we get a noise complaint, like, right, okay, whatever, that's expected, right?
Yeah.
And it's 15 freaking people in a room.
And what's funny is all we were doing was sleeping. It's like, it sounds like there's 15 people sleeping in there. It's so loud.
Oh my God. It's like a snore symphony, or what's happening?
Exactly.
And then we're getting those noise complaints, and we're in our early 20s, so we're drinking a lot. And my cousin Frankie is gone. He drinks so much. He used to drink so much that he goes straight into the shower. I don't know why, for like the longest time. And so we're all out there, and we're all like kind of mellowing out, but he's still super drunk in the shower. And he doesn't realize that we all calm down, and he's still in the moment. And we got all those noise complaints, and we're like, all right, whenever he gets out, we'll just keep checking on him, then we'll go to sleep. And all of a sudden, we hear, my mind's telling me no, but my body. And we're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. And he's banging on the wall, singing that song at the top of his lungs.
I don't see nothing wrong.
And
I see a lot of things wrong.
So the noise complaint with the cops come, and we're like, oh, God, we can't not open the door. So we open it up. And the moment we open the door, he goes straight back to it. But my body. And we're like, oh, Jesus Christ, we're going to get kicked out of here. And I don't think any story ever tops that, like, in terms of, like, being all together, and, like, we all remember that moment.
The funny thing now is that if it were to happen today, the cops would come just because he was singing R. Kelly.
Oh my God!
Hey, we heard what could sound like an R. Kelly song. We don't
down.
really know, but we're just gonna go ahead and shut that down anyway, because we just don't want that associated with the Quinta Inn. Or whatever stupid hotel you were staying at.
It was probably that.
It was probably La Quinta.
Or a Hampton or something.
Yeah, it was. Well, like the Quinta is like, it's affordable because it's business, but it's also like the crappiest hotel of all time.
Holiday Inn or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, goodness. That reminds me of this story, actually, of when I was I don't know if you know this about me, but when I was 13 or 14, I was with a ministry basically where we did like a bunch of like different music and stuff, and we toured basically around like the world, essentially. And so we basically lived the quote unquote tour life, except we just weren't like in a cool band or anything. We were like church kids,
Yeah.
And But church kids could get down in a hotel room, you know? I'm kidding.
Where are we going?
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing here. But I still remember this. I remember a lot of stories, like going back to like not having phones and things like that.
That's weird.
The things that we would do to pass the time because we had no phones, the biggest thing that we would do was they had just released the Monster Slim Jim. And we would buy a Monster Slim Jim, and we would whack people in the calf as hard as humanly possible. And the game was, if you cry, you lose.
No way.
And so we would welts on our calves of just like, I'm not crying, dude. They're like, I see a tear. It's sweat. I promise. So I remember that. And I also...
Dude, just think of the cover title for that, like church kids brutally beats like other in hotel rooms.
Yeah, I mean, granted, we only did it to the other guys. We never hit the girls because that's extremely rude. We're still church kids. You know, we're very respectful. And we also made sure that all the other guys actually wanted to get hit. So there was consent.
Just church things.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, a story that I definitely remember from that this reminded me of was also, just so you know, this happened and we were completely sober, which makes it kind of worse.
Man.
So it was like 4 of us to a room, and one of the dudes, he was like a high school kid. You know, like when you're 12 or 13 and you meet somebody that's like a senior in high school, you're like, wow, you're like 45. And they're like, yeah, dude, I'm 18. And you're like, whoa. I'm not kidding. I still remember the moment. I had to have been 6 or 7 where I talked to a kid at church, and because he looked really big and I was kind of scared of him. So I was like, I'm going to talk to him because I'm scared of him, and hopefully
facing his fears.
Yeah, the fear. It was a very David and Goliath moment for a church kid. And I went up to him and I was like, hi, what's your name? And he's like,
I'm Bobby.
And I'm like, hey, Bobby, how old are you? And he goes,
11.
And I was like, whoa. Like, and it's just like, and I still remember it like that, like in that tone where he sounded like a monster. And I was like, whoa, that kid's 11. Like, I can't wait to be 11. I'm going to be,
digits.
Yeah, I'm going to be a monster. But anyway, he was 18 or whatever. And he was like,
Hey guys, let's play Pirate Ship.
and I go, what's Pirate Ship? And they're like, it was probably a game he was making up as we were doing it. But essentially,
That's so true, dude.
essentially, he was like,
So this bed, right, has the treasure. So I have to jump from this bed to this bed to grab the treasure.
I go, where's the treasure? And he goes,
It's in your mind, dude.
and so I'm like, all right. So basically, we like slammed on both of these beds and broke all the beds. Oh, right? So then we had to call and be like, hey guys, we can't sleep because turns out the beds are broken. And they're just like, oh, sorry for the inconvenience. And we're like, actually, sorry for our inconvenience.
That sounds like a band name, dude. We are the inconvenience.
We're the Quinta Inn, and we are the inconvenience. Hi, guys. We're Ticketmaster, and we are the service charges.
Damn it. That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey, guys. We're the government, and we are the taxes. It's just like, whoa. Like, they must really be good.
They got history.
Like, their bassist is actually named Bill.
Yeah, my grandpa worked at the Secret Service. Now I'm just an 11-year-old trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I'm just 11 and I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Are you 11 or Batman? I can't really tell. Anyway, this has been an episode, dude. Holy cow. So many laughs. We had so many laughs. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at Puppy Party Panic. That is my Instagram, mostly where I'm posting these days. I mean, again, I don't post that much but I try to be as active as possible. But I'm just like not promoting anything, just kind of living my personal life. Also, YouTube, I think, is Puppy Party Panic. Yeah. So that's usually where I'm posting now. I'm trying to do more videos. So if you like the sound of my voice, there's an ASMR video coming out next week on Puppy Party Panic YouTube.
Of you washing a dog, the dogs from Paw Patrol. Like, come here, fireman dog. Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah. Oh, wow, there's a lot of charcoal. You must have been in a really burning building. Wow. You're making all the sounds yourself. Like, Let me get some extra water. Shh. Oh, man. And obviously, hologram hearts.
Yeah, and like we said, hologram hearts. If you want heavier stuff, you can still find Give Up Ghost on Spotify, YouTube. Mostly I didn't get a chance to talk about it too much, but hologram hearts is my most recent stuff. We are going to be jumping back into that, but kind of doing a little bit of a genre change because, again, just kind of discovering ourselves and doing a lot of whatever we want to do along the way. So if anything comes out musically, it's probably going to be through Hologram Hearts, or at least we'll announce something through there. So, and that's also on Instagram and YouTube as well.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And then for me, you can find me on Instagram at Mike Valdes, on Twitter at I am Mike Valdes. You can go to whoismikevaldes.com to find out the answer to that question. And that's it. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell everyone you know so we can grow this family. Have a great week. Bye, besties.